So now I'm back in Illustrator, and I'm going to just add some vectors to this, the project being to mix vector and raster images. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, in thinking about a color scheme, I want it to be kind of in the warm family. So I'm going to first choose maybe a kind of pinkish color. And you can use shapes. I'm going to use the pen tool right now just because I want to make a specific kind of angle here. So I'm kind of mimicking the angle of the roof here, the way the picture is. And going down like this and back to the beginning to create this like pinkish color. And then maybe do a similar thing up here. I'm really just kind of winging this, not thinking too much about it. Okay. And maybe this is more of a red, orange. Maybe kind of a red, sort of off pink kind of red. And then obviously there's the text, right? So you don't need me to demonstrate that for you, but the text should also follow the same kind of a similar color scheme. What I wanted to do though is to bring in another image into Photoshop and kind of combine them, because like I said, the idea here is to combine images. I tried using this, don't think that's going to work, but I did download something else that I thought might be worth trying. Either this or no, not the cat. Maybe this. Thinking about doing something in the front where the house is in the front where I cut it off. So taking this again, using the quick selection tool and turn off the background. Using the quick selection tool and just kind of trying to grab maybe a little bit of this around here. And I lost my mouse, but here we go. Now, there's something I wanted to show you in terms of making the edges better. So for you, it's a little bit different, but it's going to be the same type of tool. So if you go under the select menu, once you've selected something here like this, if you go up to the select menu and select, I have select and mask, you will see a thing called refine edge under select. Now this is selecting and masking mine. You're going to see a similar thing. You're not going to see the background though. Let's see. So you will see something similar to this. So what I'm trying to get at is you'll also see this thing called the refine edge brush tool. Yours will be over in this area. There'll be a brush and there'll be a thing called smart radius, which you will click to select. And then there'll be a brush here and you'll click that too. And it's going to do the same thing that it's going to do for me. It's just the tools have been renamed. But if I zoom in here, what you're able to do, if you see all this fuzzy stuff and you want it to be much more refined, basically, that's what it does. It refines all the little edges. And this is great for when you are selecting, like if you have someone and you're cutting out a portrait and you've got around their head the hair that gets really, the fine little hairs that go around. So this I'm taking And this is a really great tool to know as well. So you'll be using this for a lot. This is like, these tools are really useful in a lot of ways for no matter what you do, because I find that the more I use Photoshop, the more I need to use this cutting out tool, the layering, the layer masking, and also then refining the edge. This makes it much more realistic around the edges. Okay. When you are done with that, you will click OK, and you'll see that you'll see the selection, and then you'll create the mask like you did before. Once again, you will export it as a PNG, and you'll bring it into Illustrator. These images some of these images I downloaded from Pexels, and I've talked to you about that site before. It's a really good site because it's free and they're stock images. Okay, so that one's saving, and you get really large, high-quality images. That's the main thing. It's really hard to search things in Google and get anything worth doing anything. Okay, so let's bring that PNG in and just see how that looks. Okay. Here's the PNG. It's probably going to be huge right away, but we'll see. Yeah, giant. So what I imagined was to have this somewhere in the front where the porch is. So it's going to be much smaller than that. Smaller even than this, probably. And I will need to put it on a layer that is probably going to be above the porch. So I'm going to copy this and delete it, make a new layer, and put it on top of the house. And then have this here. Now, I may change my mind, and I'm really not doing this to show you how to do the design of it. That's your job. I'm showing you how to do, how to use the tools. I don't know if I really like that so much, but the point was that I was trying to give you ideas for combining images and graphics. So what I would do then is I also want you to use the brush tool, and I'm going to put another layer on top, and you could well, the idea is to use vectors, vector imagery with photo imagery, and I don't really like that, but there is a tool called the blob brush, which is underneath this brush. It's called the blob brush tool. And let's just see. Obviously, you have to adjust your brushes to make them, if you double click on the brush, don't like that either. And one last thing then is to do to include some kind of a pattern, so that you have the examples you have here have patterns in them in some spots here and over here. I really want you to experiment with that. And if you go into the document here, you'll see this tutorial for creating patterns, which I really think is going to add to your design as well. So at this point, I'm going to stop this part of it, and you should know that this assignment is about extracting images, combining them with vector graphics and text to create this poster. We'll continue to work, and I will continue to give you help, obviously, as you go. So let me know if you have any specific questions. All right, that's it for now.